Today we are going to be learning about compound inequalities, which we briefly looked at the disjunctions with our other inequalities, but we have not at all looked at conjunctions or discussed them. So we're going to look at both today. Compound inequalities are two inequalities that are either joined by the word and or by the word or. So you can see that there's different inequalities written here. So x greater than or equal to 3 and x less than or equal to 8, x less than 5 or x greater than 10, and then we can read the other two as well. Notice that the two that have an and, the shading is between the two numbers, whereas the ones that say or, the shading goes out to the ends. So I want to show you the conjunctions are the ones that have ands, where the shading is between. And most often, they don't use the word and. They write them as what I call an inequality sandwich. So x greater than or equal to 3 and x less than or equal to 8 really means that x is between 3 and 8. So this is what I call an inequality sandwich, because what we've done is we've sandwiched our variable, in this case x, between the two values, 3 and 8. This inequality sandwich means the exact same thing as this statement written with the word and it's graphed the exact same way. So if we look at the other and try to write it as a sandwich, x greater than -1, so that means -1 is the lower limit, and notice it's a plain no equals, so we won't use an equals here, and x less than or equal to 4. So this would be how we would write that as an inequality sandwich. So again, what we do is we make our variable kind of the meat of the sandwich or the cheese, and we make the two values the buns on the end. And the order matters. You should always have the lowest number on the left side and the highest number on the right side when we write a conjunction. Disjunctions are joined by the word or, and notice that those, our shading goes out to the ends. It's like we're pointing our thumbs, or hands, fingers in both opposite directions. All right, so we're going to solve and graph several compound inequalities here. So this one is an inequality sandwich, so this is a conjunction. And when I solve a conjunction, the first thing I need to do is simplify what's in the middle. So simplify the meat of the sandwich, if you will. So in this case, that means I need to distribute. So I'm going to keep the buns the same. So 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 2 is 4. And then I've got my -7. Again, not touching what's on the buns of the sandwich. The meat of my sandwich is still not simplified here because I've got like terms with the +4 and the -7. So I combine those like terms. Now the meat is completely simplified. So that means that now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to get the x by itself. So I'm going to use opposite operations. The only difference here is that instead of just doing the opposite operation 2 times, I have to do it 3 times because there are 2 different symbols. So I do +3 here, and then I need to also do that same operation on both of the buns. So those go away. 3 + 3 is 6, less than 2x. 13 + 3 is 16. Still don't have x alone. I need to divide by 2. Whatever I do to the meat, I also have to do to the buns. And so then that gives me 6 divided by 2 is 3, is less than x, is less than or equal to 16 divided by 2, which is 8. So that means that if I make this 3, let's say, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would be here. I should get an open circle on the 3 because there's no equals. I should get a closed circle on the 8. So fill it in. And then my shading should go between. And so then that looks pretty similar to what I've got here, except with an open circle. All right, let's look at one more of those. So in this case, the meat of the sandwich is completely simplified to begin because x over 3 and negative 5 are not like terms. So I'm going to go ahead and start using my opposite operations. So add 5, add 5. These will go away. 2 plus 5 is 7. In the middle, I've now just got x over 3. 6 plus 5 is 11. Now I need to undo this division by 3. So I'm going to multiply by 3. Whatever I do to the meat of the sandwich, I also have to do to the buns of the sandwich. So 3 times 7 is 21, is less than x. And then 11 times 3 is 33. So let's see. I definitely can't count by ones here. If I make this 21, 23, 25, 27, 29, 31, 33, I'd have plenty of room. So I'm going to go ahead and just make this 21 and count by twos. So 21, 23, this would be 25, 27, 29, 31, 33 would be here. Both of them do not have any equals, so that means they're both open circles. And then the shading should be between. And that would give us our answer. So these are the solutions when it says solve, and then these are the graph part. Okay, now we're going to look at the disjunctions, which we've really kind of already talked about, but can't hurt to review it. So the disjunctions are easier because all you do is solve each of the inequalities totally separately. So here, subtract 1, so 5x greater than 10, divide by 5, and I get x is greater than 2. Then I go to the or statement, solve it, in this case by adding 1 to both sides, and I get x is less than negative 3. So the solution to my inequality is this guy, and then I just need to graph it. So if I make this negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2 would be here. In this case, neither of them has any equals, so open circles on both values. Less than negative 3 means to the left, goes this way. Greater than 2 goes this way. And remember, you can use the arrows if you prefer instead of the shading, but if you use the shading, make sure you shade the arrows as well. All right, last one of this type, looking at this disjunction. So we need to divide by 5 on the first one. Gives me x is greater than 4. Or, and then add 2, x is less than or equal to negative 2. So I put negative 2 here, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 would be here. So greater than 4, less than or equal to, so that one should be a closed circle where the 4 is an open, less than to the left, greater than 4 means to the right. So this is my graph. This is the solution to the inequality. All right, last one, example 2. The solutions of the conjunction are graphed below. What is the inequality? So this wants us to be able to work backward. So when I look at this, first of all, because the shading is between, that tells me that this should be an inequality sandwich, is the easiest way to write it. So I look at my two boundaries, 0 and 5. That means 0 and 5 have to be the buns of my inequality. 0 is not filled in, so I should get a plain symbol here. Put my X in the middle, and then 5 should get an equals. So this would be X is between 0 and 5. You could also, another correct way to write this would be to write it with an and statement. X greater than 0 and X less than or equal to 5. Both of these are 100% correct. So I want to make sure that you realize that these are interchangeable. So if I give you this, you should be able to convert it to a sandwich form, just like I did up here. All right, that wraps up our compound inequalities.